Welcome back to the broadcast for APAC South Stage 2. It is the final Playday where we have so much to unpack and go over. Guys, we've done the algorithms. In the break, we've got it all written down now. Raven, do you want to take it away and be the smart guy?
Sure. Okay, so for wildcard to make playoffs, they need 7thHeaven to win, either in regulation or overtime. They need the Knights to get at least 6 rounds versus Order. And they also need Elevate to beat IG, either in regulation or OT. So, yeah, literally, all 3 of these results have to go a very particular way for wildcard to make it. It's going to be a nervous wait for them, I'm sure.
Too nervous for me, I'll tell you that much. If I was a player for wildcard, I'd pretty much just turn off my PC, walk outside, not look until the end of the night, because there's too many possibilities for things to go wrong for them. Yeah. But I think the major thing is, everything has to go their way. So right now, there's a lot of discomfort, I would say, in the wildcard camp, but they'll still be proud with what they've done in Stage 2. They have certainly shown us that they are back in form and they're ready for Stage 3, regardless of what happens tonight.
Yeah, I think most definitely Wildcard is a team that, and as you were saying, Manic, has reinvigorated themselves this stage, and with that win against Q Confirm, of course that means Q Confirm can't make the major. From that top position, of course, they will still make the playoffs though, which is fortunate for them, Raven, because Q Confirm, this almost happened to them in Stage 1, didn't it? Like, it's kind of repeated here. The only difference this time is they haven't dropped out of the top 4.
Yeah, at least they will get through to playoffs and have that opportunity, but I'm sure they're going to be very disappointed with the way the stage is finished, because it was only 2 weeks ago that we were looking at them undefeated. It looked like they were just going to be the absolute monsters of APAC South, and here they are just barely clinging on to this playoff berth. It's pretty unreal.
It's a shame. Fall from grace, there's no doubt about it, and they'll look back at this stage and just think, what if? Because I was saying this in the break, and this might be a little bit harsh, but going into playoffs, I just don't see them performing as well as some of the other teams. I just think the way that the trajectory that they're on right now headed into playoffs is not one that is showing positive signs, and you're coming up against 5 of the best teams from APAC plus the South Asian teams. You haven't convinced me right now that you're going to be able to book one of those spots, so it really is quite dire for them.
Yep. Let's move forward though with our next matchup for today. It is going to be Chiefs versus 7thHeaven, and a lot on the line here for both teams. Firstly, I should mention 7thHeaven are out. They can't make top 4 anymore because Wildcard do have that tiebreaker, so the one thing they needed to go right for them was a QC win, and that didn't happen, so they're out of here. Not too much to play for, I guess, then, Raven, except for pride.
Yeah, just trying to, I guess, get off the bottom of the standings, because of course they could still try and jump as high as they can. Obviously not into playoffs, but maybe they could slot into 5th place. There's still a good opportunity there ahead of them. I'm sure they're going to be disappointed they won't make playoffs again this stage, but look, this is a chance to try and right some wrongs, at least figure out some things before they head into the next stage. And something that's caught my eye immediately is Ray is back into this lineup tonight.
Yeah, There is something that really concerns me about a roster that continues to make shuffles mid-season, regardless of whatever reason it may be. I do think that, as we're kind of in Stage 2 at the moment, we've seen... Is it just 2? I think it's just 2 different editions of this roster, but we've seen 3 different changes in that sense. It does worry you a bit, but maybe they're using this as a potential trial for Stage 3 and what that may look like. But, a wounded animal can still bite. And the thing with 7thHeaven is they are a team that they can embarrass you on any given day. You look to Souffle and Pika mostly for some of their unbelievable performances that they've had over the past 2 stages. I would not be surprised here if they deny Chiefs entry into the top 4. That could well and truly be on the cards, and you don't want to give them the opportunity to.
Just to correct you there, Manic, just the one player swap. Usually it's Cyan and Ray that have been sort of interchanging. So it's 2 different rosters, right? Well, I mean...
Oh, interesting. Oh, so
technically you could say it's one roster.
Oh, okay.
One roster with the rotating of one player, but that's one way to look at it.
So it's not the same roster. Okay, so I just wanted to make sure we were clarifying.
Let's go and look at a different roster, though. The opponents of 7thHeaven, it is going to be the Chiefs, of course. They've got destiny in their own hands. A win here will see them jump up into 3rd place. Obviously, with still 2 games to go after that. But, I mean, this is as good chance as any, Raven, to take care of business, get this win, and maybe give yourselves a chance of getting into the playoffs. Because let's remember, the start of the season for the Chiefs, they lost their first 2 games. They've had to do this the hard way.
They have, and I guess the irony is if they do manage to get 3 points here, they will finish with the exact same win-loss record as they did in Sun, which had them in 3rd place. So I guess maybe you could look at that as a good omen if you're Chiefs. I don't know, but yeah, look, they're going to have to bring their guns because 7H can definitely turn it up on the best of times. And yeah, it's just been a bit inconsistent from Chiefs, particularly in APAC South. Fisher Guy in particular, he's had a couple of really struggle kind of matches. But last week he had a big game, and I think the opportunity is right for them to take. And I think if they all show up and really produce the teamwork that we can expect from that Chiefs roster, I think they can do it.
Yeah, I think they can too as well. Manic, I'm just going to cut you off there because let's move forward to the map vetoes. This is where I know you are going to want to have a bit of a chat and see what we're going to have for this game. There it is. A little bit delayed, but we got there in the end. It's going to be Chalet. A little bit cold, Manic. What's your thoughts?
Look, really worried for the Chiefs on this one. I'm sure that coming into this, they will be well prepared. I'm sure that this is something that they may have predicted, but you're going up against a team that is really hard to read. 7thHeaven is a team that is so hard to put your finger on, and you're taking them to a map that has only been played once in APAC South. Granted, 7thHeaven have played it 6 times. They've won 5 out of those 6. But this is just not the place to be taking 7thHeaven. An unknown amount of possibilities on a map that has no real play style in APAC South or Oceania. I am really worried for Chiefs, I'll be completely honest with you. The fact that if they don't secure all 3 points, again, I'll have to look back, but they want all 3 points here. I think they almost have to take all 3 points to completely confirm their place in playoffs. This is just a really dangerous place to start, I'll be honest with you there, Xenox, but I'm sure Raven might rebut that with either some absurd nonsense or some proper proof.
No, I mean, I'm generally aligned with you. One thing, their most recent result for 7thHeaven, they had an 8-6 victory on Chalet against Velocity 9, which is another local team in their region. That's not that convincing, right? Especially when you're talking about a level. So maybe there is an opening there because they've done their prep and turned their form around. Because yeah, we haven't seen really any massively convincing performances from Chiefs on Chalet. Obviously, haven't seen a lot of it from Chief, but in the past, it hasn't necessarily been a strong map for them. So I'm definitely excited. This is a stage set for them to be able to take that playoff position.
Yeah, it's a very exciting match for both teams, I guess, for 7thHeaven. A little bit less on the line, but for the Chiefs, everything on the line. That's us done from the virtual desk now. The 3 handsome gentlemen will throw it over to the other guys.
Thank you. I'm always just happy to be the other guys, Gus. I'm happy to just chill out and have a good time and get to see Chalet. Finally, it's been a while. Only played once so far in Stage 2 of APAC South. It's one of my favorite maps, so I can't wait to put on my snowshoes and get skiing.
Yeah, I've dressed well for the occasion. The turtleneck, no doubt, going to serve me well. And my God, I can't wait to jump into this map. We just don't see it enough. I miss Chalet. It's so fun to watch. It's pretty crazy. There's a lot of action going down across multiple parts of the map at every single turn. And I can't wait to see if the Chiefs can lock in their playoffs position.
The guys already touched on at the desk. Chiefs are the ones that really are... They have everything to gain, everything to lose out of this match. They could make playoffs or they could stay as an outsider looking in. They didn't even get any SI points in Stage 1 because despite making it to playoffs, they went out first. 7thHeaven on the flip side have nothing to gain, nothing to lose. They're going to be the ones to open up with a sledge ban. Goodbye, Digital, I guess.
Yeah, the target ban there onto Digital, the most dangerous man on the Chiefs roster, and the Chiefs themselves following it up with a pretty boring ban there, Thatcher. I mean, come on, guys, we're not still in 2019, but well, that will be the case in terms of the second ban here from the Chiefs. It is going to be the Jaeger. Now, that's pretty spicy. Jaeger is obviously quite potent, particularly when you think about bar defenses, for example, where you're trying to hold the top of library stairs. Can also be quite important when you're trying to hold map extensions in office, for example. We often see teams playing against the half wall, and with Jaeger on the board, that does make it a little bit more difficult for the attack to clear out. Mirror, though, to round things off, again, can be quite potent on some of these extensions, and unfortunately for us, we won't see her in play, 7thHeaven not wanting to deal with it.
I feel like this veto phase is going to make me very scared to be a defender. Like, you just think about all the nades that are coming at you. You can't hide behind a mirror window. If you want to have a power position, you're going to be probably sitting at a shield that's protected by, at best, maybe an Aruna Gate if the positioning works out, or awesome Wamai Magnets. But no Jaeger does make it very scary, especially because a lot of Chalet, especially that bar and gaming defense, right, it relies on those shields, right? And I think that'll be very easy to clear. So this is probably going to be a pretty hectic game, and I expect the attack to thrive.
Bit to divulge into here with the operator selections. I was expecting for the 0 to be played, if it was going to be played in the hands of Fisho, who, remember back, I think it was like SI calls for 2021 was playing the 0 on like coastline and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But no, it was a fake out there from the Chiefs Digital. In fact, 6-picking on to the Nook. Now that's a name we don't hear all that often in competitive Siege, as she is not often the most viable of all the attacking operators, but again, so much flexibility in the current meta, and Digital might be able to pull off some sneaky plays using that the cloning device. I honestly can't even remember what it's called. What's it called again? The
Hell presence
yes,
reduction.
the Hell, or the HELL. Yeah, reduction. Yes, that is correct. And I'm keen to see what his route is going to be in this round. I mean, he could maybe try and sneak through the main garage, even up the blue stairs through the library. I mean, he has so many different options available.
I'll definitely keep my eye on the Nook. And apologies in advance to any Danish viewers that are face-palming at our pronunciation of Nook as she goes in. Let's see what Dig can do with it. You know, just to divert for a second, I'm sure that there are many, many operators that we are pronouncing wrong. Like, I think Maestro, the Italian pronunciation,
Maestro,
is more
mate.
like Maestro or something. So, I mean, I'm not even going to try because I know whatever I do, I'll be wrong. But here comes Digital. Oh!
Ditch!
See you later, Souffle.
That's
Eating
not
up for
something you see
dessert.
every day. That is not something you see every day. And that's honestly, that is actually quite a large pick. Yes, Souffle has already placed down those Banshees, but the pressure that a Melusi can have, particularly around the map with the MP5, can be really, really scary for the attack to deal with. And honestly, Digital now can kind of chill. His job is done. I'm sure that the target for him in this round was to try and get a cheeky opening pick, and he's already managed to do that.
And he does have nades as well. Even if he's not playing Sneaky Ninja, he can do a lot of damage as Chiefs can start to figure out their best way to push this Master. I really like the vertical defense. This is not something I see a lot. But again, we don't see Chalet a lot. So of course the meta will have developed kind of without us necessarily seeing it, at least for these teams, as they don't play it very much in their regional league. 7thHeaven plays it a bunch nationally, but I admit I haven't watched a lot of that Operation League. But having a look now, Chiefs have made some really good progress, but they do have to deal with this bullet hose from Ray, or he can just be naded from below. That is Digital once again with the second opening pick.
Ban the sledge and the man will adapt. Trades flying out, and Pika is left in the 1v4 down below. I mean, at this point, this is surely a Chiefs round, as there's no Nitro Cell available to the Kayi to deny this plant from Fish. It'll be stuck, and the Chiefs should be able to hold on here in the post.
What infos he got? A little bit, I believe, from those Evil Eyes. Spirited and Souffle can sit those cams and do their best, but it just ain't going to happen. Not when Chiefs are red hot and ready to go. A very, very good opening round from the Aussies.
Got to fulfill some confidence in the Chiefs roster, pulling off the pocket strat in round number 1. Huge from Digital. I was expecting him to just, play it safe, jump onto the buck if they still wanted verticality, but no. Goes for something completely left of field, catches us off guard, and his opponents as well. Now, surely this is another bait here with the Nook. You would expect him to 6-pick off this? I'm very keen. If Digital sticks this, I mean, that is just next level. He's in their heads. He's living rent-free.
Honestly, I think a lot of the time people look at operators and say, oh, Nook is clearly meant to be kind of sneaky ninja operator, but she's got nades. I mean, if you ban the sledge and Digital's primary focus is just getting some grenades, who's he gonna pick? Why not pick the Nook? Yana's already been taken. I guess you could bring a Maverick, but honestly, he's more likely to use Nook's ability than Mavs anyway in his role. So why not? I say go for it. And there is an off chance that Hell will actually get him into positions without being revealed. So I say go for it.
Yeah, and if anything, it keeps the defense on their toes. 7thHeaven will be thinking, where's this Nook? Was the Nook 6 picked off? Are we watching drones properly? Are we seeing that little static that can sometimes appear if Digital moves a little bit too quickly? And all those little thoughts can sometimes compound into much larger problems here. So it's important that 7th identify quickly, hopefully for them, that Nook is actually inside the server, and then establish a plan to try and deal with him. Because if Digital is allowed free reign around the map and able to bypass a lot of this intel which has been pre-placed by the defense with, again, the default cameras and those Mozzie drones as well that may have been captured, then it could spell disaster.
This is going to be a very, very difficult defense here for 7th Heaven. Without the Jaeger protecting these shields, there's 2 of them. A pretty common setup here from 7th Heaven. It's going to be so difficult. With no one actually playing in Library as well, this does give Chiefs a potential way in. They don't even have a lot of vert to try and deny these jump-ins. Oh, nade goes over. Ray takes a bit of damage, but he does get out. Oh, and once again, just lucky to be alive. Digital! Man's unstoppable. We rag on him all the time, but he's just, when he shows up, it is just beautiful.
This is just such an awkward round, both for the attack and also the defense. 7th Heaven are really struggling to play behind their pre-placed utility. Ray elsewhere does eventually find Dig, and Worthy dropped as well. So the defense proving that you don't even need a Wamai to fortify these positions. Play a little bit off meta, a little bit aggressive, and see what you can get done. Vast on the vault, not traded out, and Spirited just goes huge with the 9mm, leaving Fisher all alone.
Yeah, and that doesn't last very long at all. This is exactly what the Doctor ordered for 7th Heaven. A bit of aggression goes a long way, and that is tying up the round count 1 apiece as well.
Ooh, maybe we're in for a close one here on Chalet. A good response there from 7th in that round. Sure, they looked a little bit discombobulated, some may say, particularly in the mid-round there as the Chiefs attempted to take control of the top library stairs, but somehow they just made it work. They won their ones, they played aggressive, catching the Chiefs off guard, and that was what worked. That was, I guess, the nail in the coffin there for that attack. The Chiefs, again, committing once again to the Nook, and I mean, that would suggest that that was a game plan heading into this matchup. That is something that maybe the Chiefs have identified in 7th's ability to gain intel. Maybe it's not very strong, or maybe it's incredibly strong and they're trying to counter that directly with the Nook. I'm not entirely sure what the thought process behind it is, but so far, Digital is having a big impact.
Yeah, I mean, despite them losing that round, of course. I'm just having a look to double check the list of operators that have grenades. So obviously Recruit, which you can't pick in comp. Sledge, who is banned. Glaz, why would you pick Glaz? And then Maverick, Nook, or Yana. And, you know, Yana's being hard stuck by VAR. So it's literally just a choice between Maverick and Nook. So, like, yeah, if you think you're more like, if you feel equally comfortable with the FMG9 on Nook and the M4 on Maverick, and you don't think you're going to use the blowtorch, then totally. I reckon, honestly, for the role that he is playing, the Nook is definitely better than the Maverick. So even though it's a funny pick, and most people would regard it as a pocket pick, it's fine to be a hard stuck pick, even if 7th Heaven are expecting it.
You're definitely sounding like someone that plays Nook in ranked, Dev. That's
I
all I'm
do.
gonna say.
I love it.
I know, trust me. I know.
I also like a bit of Glaz in ranked, but you wouldn't run the nades on him. Gotta bring the smokes.
100%. Still waiting for Glaz to make his way back into the comp meta, or maybe we don't want him back in the comp meta. That's up to interpretation, but it's a fair chance we won't see him in this matchup. 5v5 here as we start things off, and the Chiefs trying to gain control of the library across. Now, keep in mind, it is a dining defense here from 7th Heaven, and they've established a foothold above Souffle Piano as well as Pika inside of office, and in fact, there was also some pressure over towards the Solarium stairs as well. The Chiefs taking it head-on from the south, and I mean, the attack pattern here quite similar to if you're attacking Bedroom itself.
Yeah, very much so, especially because of 7th Heaven fortifying their Bedroom defense with a vertical hold downstairs. Souffle, aggressive peek, doesn't get punished, but also doesn't find much on the back of it, just a drone or two. Pika's in a pretty strong position here, though he does have to be careful. If he gets pushed, oh, that's a big pick taking down Worthy. The star player from the Chiefs is on the ground, and Souffle and Pika both together have a strong crossfire. And they're continuing to peak as well.
Yeah, Pika really making the most of this setup. Without Mirror on the board, it's not quite as strong, but still, he's having a strong presence here against the Chiefs. And in fact, as those X-Kairos detonate, he makes one last-ditched attempt to swing wide and find an enemy, but finds nothing. Souffle, however, gets aggressive over towards the main pillar. Vast, though, to shut that down. That's a huge pick there from the Yana. Leaves it in the 4v4, but Pika still yet to be cleared.
And with that, you can absolutely see the game that 7thHeaven want to play today, and that is aggression. They want to take these 50-50 fights with the Chiefs, or even sometimes less favored fights, because they are confident that they can win them. That said, they do get punished twice now in the round. Digital's going to have to try and clear off this claw. Somehow it is in the roof, but that nade does the trick, and Fisho can start breaching open this dining wall into the bomb site.
25 seconds on the board. 7th still in a good position to try and deny this plan, or at least deny the entry. The Chiefs will be forced to filter in through that breach, which could be tough.
15 seconds left.
Here comes the final execute. Vast is taken down. An impact grenade will secure that. A C4 does not find anything. Digital goes deep, finds one. Ray is in the best position possible to deny this. He swings. Down goes Fisho and God Legion. And that's another strong round for 7thHeaven.
Good work by the cleanup crew there on the defense in the dying seconds of that round. Good work from 7th to deny a lot of time up above, and then, of course, having the manpower to deny the plant itself. The Chiefs didn't necessarily do a poor job in that round. They got most of the jobs needed ticked off on that checklist, but maybe a little bit too slow. Didn't leave themselves much room for error in that plant scenario, and without that cross being covered, they weren't able to stick the diffuser, which is an unfortunate result, but again, I think we are just warming into what's going to be a close match.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
There's no doubt about it. And I think that 7thHeaven playing this really loose game is definitely what is the right choice here. You can't necessarily rely on just sitting back and waiting for the action. Even though we're seeing them lose a lot of these early picks, I think it's the right play. Will Chiefs read into that? And I think that the more we see this aggression from both sides, the more that this game will be dictated by gunfights. Usually Worthy is the one leading the way. If I go and just double check CGG for a minute, I'm pretty sure he was number 2 in the whole league for racing. That is so. Number 2 for the whole league in stage 2 for rating is Worthy, just behind Speakeasy. Also been really strong in overall KD, entry KD, and actually his KOST is the highest of anyone in the top 5 for racing. So Worthy has definitely been a dangerous player. With him not showing up yet, I'm a bit surprised and I guess concerned for Chiefs.
I would agree, a little bit quiet from God Legion as well, but I guess seeing Vast and Digital step up is impressive, and Vast himself actually has had a couple of big games in this stage, so we'll have to wait and see if he can continue to fire up. Digital though, swift entry down below, trying to catch someone off guard inside of Dying.
Ooh, with that vertical line. Oh, he finds the pick! Can he get the double? He pre-fires perfectly. Vast is going in for it, but Pika wins it. Now Digital has to decide whether it's worth taking this one-on-one. Pika has been on fire so far. And holding the AUG, it's a pretty good gun, especially with that 1.5. Digital goes in, but Pika wins it as well. He's found a double holding down the fort here in Dining. And with that, Chiefs fall flat back on their feet. But might be an opportunity here as Worthy starts to push on in. He's got a crossfire with the hatch open, and he is completely picked to pieces. Finally, another trade comes back. It is a bloodbath in the kitchen, Guz. And this isn't even the goddamn bomb site.
Yeah, great composure. Pika underneath the objective inside of Dining, going huge, but equally as messy there from the Chiefs, who just sent bodies one after another and unable to find those trades. Now, obviously really difficult to vault in towards Trophy, and you are going to be forced to filter through that west main door, but either way, a poor showing there from the Chiefs, and they've set themselves up for a really tough comeback in this round. God Legion and Fisho need to get something going. Going to be tough, but at least God Legion can clear at least one piece of utility, making it a touch easier.
Piece by piece, that's the way they've got to play it. Good crossfire sustained here by Spirited and ED. They're not going to overpeak this. These Rooney gates are also going to be really, really powerful. Just keeping Chiefs at bay. Now, we can see that there's actually no one really holding on to Bathroom right now. Oh, Spirited. So close. But there is just so much util in Souffle. He's got the crossfire. Him and Spirited will clean up the final 2 picks. And while this might have been a strong start for the Aussies, the Southeast Asians have fought back with 3 rounds of their own.
Yeah, whichever way you want to look at it or frame it, whether that was a Chiefs throw downstairs or a 7th peak, a dub, either way, that was really the main, I guess, point of no return there for the Chiefs in that round. Once they failed to clear Pika down below, it was always going to be very, very tough. And they are taking a tactical here, the Chiefs, and I'm sure that might be a quick discussion point is, boys, well, what the hell were we doing down there? Let's tidy that up. Let's try and mount a couple more rounds onto the board, because you know what? Outside of the, that big digital showing in the first round, it has been slow goings for the Chiefs.
Attack for Chiefs now, definitely going to be needed. It's funny, despite Digital finding an opening kill in 3 of these 4 rounds so far, it has not been enough. And Chiefs are really falling in that mid-round, this aggression from 7th Heaven working out well. Even just, Chiefs kind of feeding and taking these gunfights sometimes. Like, you look at that previous round. Pika got a 3K in dining before he was traded back. And you have to wonder whether there was a better way for Chiefs to do that. But I think that there's one thing we know for certain, that it is that 7th Heaven, despite having nothing to gain and nothing to lose from this match, aside from a little bit of prize money, currently 7th Heaven are in last place in the league, 8th, with no chance of making it to playoffs. Even if they win this game outright, they will not be top 4. They can still go up a few placings potentially and win some extra prize money, but at the end of the day, this is more so a game for pride for them. This isn't going to get them a ticket to the major or anything of the sort. Chiefs are the ones with a lot to lose.
Which will no doubt test their mental ability. Now we know, of course, that they have had help from Michelle, an esports psychologist as of recent, and Digital, in fact, praising her ability to help guide the team and mature the team a little bit and assist them in these sorts of scenarios, because often you will be fighting mental battles, and it's easy to say that the Chiefs are the better team heading into this matchup. They probably objectively are. If you allow that the mental game to drop, then any team can beat you, especially considering how close this league is. So this is definitely going to be a test of how strong Chiefs' mental is, and they do have to start bouncing back here. Good black eye there from Souffle. Might be able to commit to a jump out.
Oh, look at them all. That's so much inflow. Even if he can't commit to a jump out, he's actually going to try it. He might be able to land this. Oh, and he wins it against Vast, even though Vast knew, but this is actually a rush. Denied, though, as Chiefs are in the bomb site and flooding through. They make it work. God Legion's found a double. Ray on site, though. His position revealed. Caught in a bit of a pickle, but he's about to walk past the Chiefs player. God Legion finds yet another kill from Mudroom. It's just Souffle left. He might have found the opener, but this rush was exactly what Chiefs needed. Doesn't see the planter, and he gets punished. That was a very ballsy play from the Chiefs.
Thought I was seeing double there. I wasn't quite sure if I was if I needed glasses or what, because when we saw Souffle there out with the black eye, I could see these outlines jumping in. I'm thinking, wait, that's literally the gaming window, and wait, that's the objective. What's going on here? But really, really good opportunistic player there from the Chiefs to rush in like that. A little bit concerning for 7th, considering surely Souffle was there screaming at the team. They are rushing game's double window. They would have known, but unfortunately unable to adjust in time, and the Chiefs overwhelming the site, able to get a swift dub there. So really well played, and that's the confidence builder I think they needed, particularly off the back of that tactical timeout.
Yeah, I mean, it's one attack, but the thing that I was saying in the ban phase, with this Jaeger going out, I do feel like this is going to be an attacker-sided game. But
for sure.
Yeah, I mean, 7th Heaven have already met even on their defense, right? Like, 3 rounds is all you need to make it not an attacker-sided game. So Chiefs is not only going to have to win this round, but they're going to have a really strong defense, because 7th Heaven have set the par here.
10 seconds left.
100%. I mean, Chalet globally is incredibly attacker-sided compared to most maps. And sure, we've only had it played once here in APAC South, but I'd be willing to bet it was probably attacker-sided on that outing as well. So you're right, 7th have probably already achieved what they needed in this half, but you know what's better than a 3-3 half? A 4-2 half. I mean, it's pretty simple. The more rounds you get on the board, you give yourself a little bit more of a cushion heading on to that attacking half, and that buffer against mistakes can prove to be very, very useful, and the Chiefs will know that. They're probably expecting the defense to be tough, and they'll be looking to get this next round on the board. It's not going to be in the same swift fashion as the last rush. Instead, a more methodical take of a library, which, again, very on meta at the moment.
Very important game for Chiefs. We've already kind of said it, but I'm pretty sure I've just run the numbers. If Chiefs win this and get 3 points, so if they win this in regulation, which is looking less and less likely, then Chiefs will make it to playoffs unless if both Order and Invictus get 3 points from their games. And fairly unlikely that that would happen, but at this point, I think it's unlikely that Chiefs are going to win this in regulation with the way that 7thHeaven are playing, with the way that Pika has been so hot. It's just looking further and further from the realm of possibility for Chiefs.
Halfway into this round, as the office double will now be slowly breached open by Fisho with the ex-Kairos in hand. Pika trying to hold down the fort behind that half, or God, Legion elsewhere drops to Souffle. It's falling apart again here for the Chiefs. They need to mount something in this round. It's critical for their chances to win it out in regulation. Pika doesn't quite fall on that occasion, still holding up above the OBJ. Will this prone peak work out?
Oh
no, that's
gosh.
Fisho taken down, and Worthy Digital in the 2v5.
It looks like this train is gaining some momentum, and Chiefs have no response. Just 2 players left. As you said, 2v5. Oh, so difficult. Worthy has been somewhat absent this game, but Digital is looking to hopefully find an opening pick. Worthy's actually got a pretty good position, and with his Inox, he could actually have spotted ED's position, but Worthy doesn't elect to use it, and as a result, he's likely to get stabbed in the back here, trying to make some vertical angles, but ED's going to win this. You could have just checked for the footprints, but nope, doesn't happen, and now it's all on Dig in a 1-on-5. He gets 2 injures, but it's going to have to be a lot more than that. He can tank the gate, but he's going to take a lot of damage for it, and that's not happening. 7thHeaven do round out the half. What looks to be an advantage to the attack, they storm away with 4 defensive rounds.
Now, of course, technically, a couple points will keep the Chiefs in the playoffs run, but again, you're putting your faith into the hands of other results, and that's not the position you want to find yourselves in. So now it's up to them to start mounting a comeback. Now, we're hypothesizing that defending here on Chalet is already going to be tough, but with the Jaeger banned out as well, it's going to be even tougher. I'm very, very keen to see if 7th can abuse that ban. Unlike the Chiefs, they're only going to bring 1 set of grenades, so that's already a stark difference in their attacking playstyle. I thought maybe they would 6-pick off the Jackal there to bring either, again, that Nook or the Maverick, but that will not be the case.
Yeah, the Flores is one I'm also looking out for, but that said, with Chiefs not really bringing a lot of that kind of, Evil Eyes and Shields, that util that would get cleared by the Flores, I'm not as worried for Chiefs. That said, I think sometimes you can have your operators, you can have your bans, you can have your strategy, but often the game does come down to team play and gunfights, and that's what the story of this match has been so far. Chiefs might have banned out the Jaeger and brought lots of nades, but it doesn't help them when they're feeding 3 players into Pika, that's just going to come down to gunfights and refrag ability. And 7thHeaven have been by far and away the better team in the lobby today when it comes to those 2 factors. I'm ragging on Worthy so much, but this is very uncharacteristic of him. He's died taken 4 out of the 6 rounds so far and only found 1 pick out
Wait.
through
They're doing the clash. They're doing the clash on the back to cover the drone hole.
Oh, yes.
Strat. This is huge. So Digital
He's
is
droning as
crouching,
well.
facing the other way, so Pika cannot send concussions or impacts through the drone hole, and so far it's working. Now ED tries to nade it, but that doesn't work, and he crouch spams in his disappointment that strategy will not work out. This is huge brain from the Chiefs.
Oh, he got off it, but might not matter actually. Oh, they did clear the util, I think. Is there still a mute jammer? There is. He's going to have to get back on it again. I'm pretty sure he would have been able to tank that. They're trying to shoot it off. This is a strat that we first saw from Luna Metal, who's now on Invictus. The Flores drone's going to come in, but that should get muted. Peak is doing his best, but Digital is fending this off. This is hilarious. All this trouble for one tiny little mute jammer.
Wow.
And they completely fall off.
That is quite remarkable. Digital is having a huge matchup here. He doesn't get any stats to show it in this round, but that is such a great time burner, utility burner, and honestly, that could be round over for 7th if they're unable to recover from this position. And oh, it's a trade. 4v4. Word popping off. And I was going to say, basement is going to be so tough to defend, but the Chiefs are doing a great job in pulling it off, but they need to be careful that they don't give 7th an in on this occasion, and they're doing so. Fisho and God Legion now need to hold down the objective.
This is very winnable for 7thHeaven. What are you doing? Fisho's got a clutch in a 1-on-2 now. There is so much time for ED and Ray, and they're playing info gathering ops, both of them. Be it Footprints or the Yana Gemini. 7thHeaven should be able to figure out what Fisho is playing at. Fisho does have a good weapon here for the close range encounter. But he's going to have to land his shots. He takes down the first one. The refrag's got to come through from ED. He doesn't have any nades. It's going to come down to the shotty. The 1v3 from Fisho. He steps up when it matters.
What a wild round on Garage. That is insane. Not only did the Chiefs manage to pluck a defensive win, but in the fashion that they did. Digital doing the clash strat on the drone hole, which I have only ever seen previously on Clubhouse on CCTV wall, so quite exciting to see that here out on Chalet. And then Fisho with the shotgun in hand. Anybody that has watched APAC in the past or more locally in OS knows that Fisho is an absolute menace with that shotgun in hand, and once again produces a fantastic result to clutch out the round.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they
Well, I mean, that's one step closer to the Chiefs tying this up, which is nice. Yeah, a lot of things happen. I think you summarized it pretty well. I don't think I'm going to see another round of Siege like that for a very, very long time. I really don't. It had everything.
I only see rounds as scuffed as that when we're playing ranked, and that's that's understandable because it's like what, Plat 3, not comp. That was something else. But,
I mean, it's not just that it was like, you know, mistakes made by teams, but it was like pretty amazing feats as well played by teams. Like, it's very, very rare that you see a strat as unique as that one from Digital. But on top of that, we also saw all kinds of other things.
Yeah, I think I could go back and watch that round back a few times and still pick up on new things and be entertained, but full steam ahead for us and for these teams who are still looking to juke this one out. We head over towards Bar, and the Chiefs will again extend, on this occasion, up to the library stairs, quite common at the moment. They have 2 shields to work with. I think one was Pillar and one at the top of said stairs, but 7th with that Jaeger band out should be able to clear that quite easily. They have 4 Roteros, Souffle. They also have 2 impacts from Pika, 2 nades from ED, so no shortage of utility here from the attack.
Oh, that proxy. I do love these Prismas spotting out the positions. It does make Souffle's job a little bit more difficult here, playing on these windows. Looks like 7thHeaven are going to go for a full clear of Master. They've got Digital to contend with, though, and he's got that FO12. Holding this balcony would be very, very strong for him. But if he starts to get pressured from long angles, he will struggle. That's why Worthy is there to cover his back.
Oh, my eyes, Souffle. Blinding me as he himself is blinded. Over on the double repel. Digital, meanwhile, doing some damage inside of office behind the half wall. Shotgun in hand, the FA12 means that 7th will want to take long-range engagements. Talk about that. Pika from medium range will shut down God Legion. That's a huge pick. Almost nails a second, but not quite.
It's a very strong start, and Chiefs' hold of this top floor is slowly slipping away, but Pika, one of the most dangerous players for 7th Heaven, has gone down already. Digital, does he still have control? He's actually forfeited and come back to the top of Library Stairs. Can't feasibly contest these long angles with his loadout, but oh, there you go. With that Flores drone completely bypassing the mine magnets, clearing his shield, he's going to be forced back.
Vast, though, inside of Library, putting up a final stand with a minute to go. Maybe he can find a pick or two, try and rotate back. It is a little bit risky as 7th can still drone him out. I believe that second Rotera being used to clear the shield at main pillar, or at least make sure that it is clear of any potential defenders, but Vast retakes the mezzanine swiftly. Can he have an impact in this round?
Souffle's also in a playmaker position. It looks like 7th Heaven are very wary of aggression, so unlikely Vast will be able to pull off a lot. He is spotted for a moment, but he does take down Ray. Spirited here. Really wants to make a play. Oh, hello, that's an angle. Souffle takes down Fisho. Really well played from him. But time is ticking down. 15 seconds left to go. Vast still has control of the top floor. 3 versus 3 as Chiefs just have to hold on. 7th Heaven have to push in the team kill. Certainly ain't going to help as Souffle is completely obliterated. Chiefs tie up the scoreline, 4 rounds each.
Yeah, I gotta say, a little bit intrigued to see 7th rotate off that above position quite swiftly. I thought that they'd try and convert a bit more control in towards Library as opposed to falling off and trying to filter through that dining hallway. Now, maybe that was because Vast was putting up a really good fight, but either way, I would have backed 7th to try and trade that out, but that wasn't the game plan they went with, and unfortunately, without Library Stairs control, that cross was covered as well as those deep positions inside of the likes of Stock being really difficult to clear generally. It was always going to be challenging for 7th to close out that round. And wow, the Chiefs have a perfect record on the defense. Maybe this is going to be more defender-sided than we anticipated, Dev.
Could well be the case. I don't really know why. I'm trying to put my finger on why, but at the moment I don't really have an explanation. If I was to summarize why I think 7th Heaven had such a strong defense, I'd probably put it mostly on Chiefs, saying that they didn't have a great attack. They kind of fed a little bit into choke points. Whereas on the flip side, right, I haven't seen enough Chiefs rounds to really come to a conclusion about their defense. For 7th Heaven, though, that first round, there was just so many things that happened in their first attack. I don't even know where to begin. So let's just take it one step at a time from here on out. Clean the scoreboard. It is 0-0 once again, essentially. And it's first to 3.
Well, this is pretty aggressive from the Chiefs, establishing a Vulcan shield at the main pillar. And again, playing off that single reinforcement on the library wall, which isn't too uncommon, but it's another hurdle that 7th will need to jump over if they are to commit to a library take. Now, back a few months ago, it felt like APAC was a little bit heavier, leaning more heavily into solo takes on the other side of the map, but that doesn't really seem to be the case at the moment. Most teams, or at least these two, I mean, we don't have the biggest sample size, are playing the library attack. Worthy though from below, trying to be a disruptor on this garage push, potentially coming through here from 7th, but Pika seems pretty aware, drones that out. Ooh, Worthy cut off there from the main door, but not from the breach, allowing him to fall back as Vast finds 1.
It's a big pick onto Ray. Taking down the Jackal will make it more difficult to hunt down Worthy and the other roamers, and with Chiefs holding on to so much map control, it's going to be very difficult for 7th Heaven to start to take some of it away. Kindness from God Legion. A late murder hole opened up so that if Sight is pushed from the other side, he still has a way to get in there. Pika's downstairs. There is so much going on right now, guys. Like, so many different players crawling around the map like ants on both teams. And, I mean, it may well come down to a bit of timing. People making sure they're watching the right angles at the right times.
Yeah, this is very much the Chalet play style. A lot going on around all points of the map, and it's going to come down to who can win their ones. But Pika has intel. in towards games. That defender will retreat in towards stock. It's Vast now rotating
Oh
in
my
towards Bar, but the cutoff from ED, so potent, leaves it in the 4-on-4.
Really well played from 7thHeaven with 2 or 3 players actually pinching that one roamer, but you just look at the time. A minute left, 4v4, and 7thHeaven haven't really done a lot for the bomb site here. Worthy's holding a nice long angle, but he doesn't have the scope like Pika does. Pika, though, peeking too aggressively on that angle. Nice pre-fire. And that actually gives Pika a really nice long angle to hold. That said, time is continually ticking away here, and 7thHeaven needs to make sure they have an execute.
Important to keep in mind that the objective is not down below in dining. It is, in fact, above in bedroom and office. Digital holding down piano, trying to nail that cross and prevent anyone from making it in towards the breach. Yes, Fisho's at the half wall, but this could be tough for them to hold on 7th. They need to find an in, try and get towards the objective. Digital, though, has not been cleared.
And he has a long angle all the way onto the breach. Fisho as well on the balcony does a lot of damage. That's Spirited down on the ground. Digital holds on in piano, but only for so long. It's just ED left. He's got 2 players to find. It's going to have to be an ace. He can't do it. And Chiefs retain the lead for the first time since the very first round of this game.
Wow. Digital having such a huge map, that control inside of Piano proves to be fatal for the attack. He had such a nice line of sight in towards the breach, really protecting Fisho on that half wall. Not only did he have that angle, but he also was able to shut down anyone coming in through the window, which he did. And honestly, he was very close to also killing a player through the double door. So 3 angles that he was tasked with holding and managed to hold 2 of them relatively successfully. So strong round again here from Digital. The Chiefs marching towards match point. 3 out of 3 on the defense. I cannot believe I am saying that. I mean, maybe we are just missing something here. I'm like you, Dev. I'm still trying to search for answers as to how this has turned into a defender-sided map. Can both teams just not attack each other? I'm not too sure.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like this game will continue to be bewildering and exciting. A riveting experience to behold until the very end. But to go back and have a look once again at how these 2 teams will be affected by it. Now, 7thHeaven can't make playoffs, but they can jump up above some other teams on the standings. It's Chiefs who are in line for a playoff spot. But if they win this round, that still doesn't guarantee it. Chiefs need at least 2 points to jump over Knights and Wildcard and sit in 3rd place. But then, of course, Chiefs will be in danger of being overtaken by Invictus and by Order. So basically, the TLDR of it is Chiefs need 2 points, but they also need more points than Order and IG, because if those 2 teams get as many points or more than Chiefs, no, that's it. That's Chiefs' chances of making playoffs down and out. And after being eliminated early from playoffs in Stage 1, I know that's something that Chiefs don't want.
Cheeky little Rotero drone there taking down the bookshelf.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Making it more difficult for a defender to fortify that position and play off it if they so request. Ooh, ED's in. That's the Yana to find the first there onto Fisho, caught off guard. The Solar Stairs applying pressure onto the Chiefs.
Really, really early control of Trophy.
Ooh.
Just a hair's breadth away from executing onto the side, but Chiefs have this top floor. With Ray finding one, God Legion is very eager to refrag that. He saw his head. If only he'd clicked.
Vast though, yeah. Vast had the cross there, the window over towards top of library stairs to find that pick. Leaves it in the 3-on-3. Spirited those going to try and commit.
Still going down, guys. In the 3-on-3, Pika's holding on perfectly. It's so difficult for Worthy to land this shot. It's going to be primarily up to Vast and God Legion on that vertical retake. They have control above. They could deny these positions from up there, and God Legion does, but Souffle knows he has to make a play. Moves into West Main. It's just him and Spirited to cover, but Spirited is all alone now. His teammate taken down. This could be match point for the Chiefs. It is, as they go up by 2 and are 1 round away from earning a playoffs position here in APAC.
What a retake there from the Chiefs, proving that you need control above that objective if you want to win the post plan. I loved the initiative there from 7th Heaven to go for a solo take in through trophy. They had such early control, but it wasn't significant enough for them to win it in the post plan. And in fact, realistically, they probably shouldn't have even been allowed to get the plant down. So well played by 7th in the early round, but the Chiefs late round proving to just be such a menace. They are not slipping up, which is really, really good to see from them. We have seen in the past that the Chiefs, such a good roster, they play really, really well, but it can be sporadic at times, especially within the isolation of one matchup. It can be very sporadic, ups and downs, but so far today, in this particular match, a really good performance so far. They are just one round away from getting 3 points towards the standings, which will be huge.
It certainly would be. The Chiefs have everything set before them. Even if they do win this round, it doesn't guarantee them for playoffs. It means they will be in a playoffs position at the end of this game, but Invictus and Order both have chances to overtake them. The thing is, though, right? Both Order and Invictus will have to jump over Chiefs to knock Chiefs out of this spot. It's not just one of them. Well, I guess I could be Knights as well. Like, there's a lot of possibilities floating around. I'm pretty sure that there is a world where if Knights get some points and they'll be ahead of Chiefs, and then it'll just be either Order or IG that have to get enough points. But, man, it's it's certainly come down to a very, very narrow end of season for all 8 teams in our league. 7th Heaven is the only team in APAC South that cannot make playoffs still. And we are almost only 2 games away from the end of the stage.
Well, it all comes down to the final Playday here in APAC South, and this match could come right down to the wire as well. The Chiefs only have 2 opportunities to win this match out in regulation, secure those full 3 points, and position themselves in the best place to make playoffs. Oh, not a good start though. Ray finds the first there on to Worthy, who has had a little bit of a quiet matchup, and with Legion taken down, no more goo mines can be dispersed around the map, which should speed up this attack from 7th.
Looks like they are trying to take control of the office side. Fisho's down below. Doesn't have a C4 to use vertically, but does have a flank opportunity. And still, 7th Heaven just working on this map control piece by piece. A very significant roam here from Chiefs. I like that rotate hole now enabled. A quick way back to the main stairs for Vast. Fisho's also even up the odds now, taking down Souffle. God Legion's position is exposed, but for now he is safe.
Minute 15 left. Ray going big in this round on the Nomad. So those 2 air jabs to use, some flashes as well. Fisho, though, going for the flank in towards Piano. If he can catch someone off guard here, it could be big.
The air jab, though, does make this a lot more difficult. He can't feasibly try and shoot it without getting air jabbed himself. Oh, he goes for it, but the timing was just not his. Pika watched the angle at the perfect moment. Now it's all on Vast. Digital's on site with the clash. We are relying on Vast to go big here as Digital desperately tries to duel 2 players. He finds the first one. He's had such a good game so far, but he can't do enough. It's all on Vast. 1 versus 3. Pika knows that he's coming down for it. Pika can land those shots, and 7th Heaven are not giving up, not without a fight. They push us all the way to the 12th round.
Vast almost making things interesting there, but unable to see the barrel there of the Zofia. Drops down to his demise, and now there's one more opportunity for the Chiefs to win this out in regulation. It's going to come down to Bar and Gaming, which they have previously won. In fact, remember, the Chiefs literally won every single defense leading into that previous round. So they have a good track record here, and they'll be looking to rely on that extension to burn time, find picks, and critically win out the round.
I really like that change onto the Nomad from Ray. Previously, he was playing the Jackal, but bringing that Nomad did get him a kill. Even though that air jab didn't detonate, there's no doubt that Pika's kill can be attributed to that air jab. And it looks like 7th Heaven are deciding to keep this Jackal in the lineup regardless. And Soufflé takes it instead of the Flores. I think this is a good adaptation. Yes, Flores is very, very powerful, but I mean, does it really matter if you have this like util clear monster extraordinaire if there's not as much util to clear? Now, funnily enough, Chiefs are gone for the bar bomb site, and this is one of the few bomb sites where you probably would want the Flores, right? Like, it's just so good for clearing out these shields, in particular because you can bypass all the one-mine magnets. So I get what 7th Heaven is thinking here, but it might actually have been the wrong moment to get rid of that operator.
5 seconds left.
Time will tell.
Attackers
Quite an aggressive, quite a flexible lineup here from the defense, and maybe if Worthy activates with the MX, then this round could be over quite swiftly, but unfortunately for him, it has been a little bit of a quieter outing for, again, one of the top players in the entirety of the league, so you never know when Worthy could show up here. 7th, though, they have been doing a decent job in the early round. They have gotten the opening pick in the last 2 rounds. And Ray was one of those players to get one. In fact, the last round, he was very solid in finding a couple of key picks. Pika, though, he's in towards the site and drops Fisho.
Once again, Pika is going huge. Chalet seems to be his map. Now it's on Chiefs to make sure that they can fight back and regain this map control. Chiefs are falling. Only 2 players left in the 2-on-4. Worthy and God Legion to hold on. And 7th Heaven are in the bomb site, but waiting patiently. God Legion may be able to find this pick. He watches for it and takes down Soufflé. 2-on-3 now, as Chiefs try to keep their dream alive of taking home the maximum 3 points. They need to, for their best chance of making playoffs. 7th Heaven have nothing to gain and nothing to lose, but they have been so good.
And they still have good positions. Air jab burnt as well there by the defense. If God Legion can hold above, that's a lot of lines of sight. But no, he's actually dropped down and trying to tag team alongside Worthy. That does forfeit control to 7th, who will take it quite swiftly. But they still need to be tidy on this execute.
God Legion's in a very precarious position. He's effectively trapped, but he might actually have a winnable angle.
Oh.
Worthy's so keen to make that work, but a player is watching for it. 7th Heaven have time, and they know it. They're going to use it to their advantage to drone out these last players. Check with the Geminis from the Yana, and that's the big pick that they've been waiting for. It's on Worthy. 1 versus 3 for the game. Falls back on his ass and then just cleaned up. Overtime is here for 7th Heaven as they push the Chiefs to their limits.
Woo! Round 13. It's a big one here between the Chiefs and 7th. Unfortunately, the Chiefs have already dropped the full 3 points, but they still will fight fiercely for 2 and keep their playoffs chance alive. 7th don't really have anything to fight for. Sure, they might gain a couple thousand in prize pool if they can elevate themselves in the standings, but that's not really going to be what's motivating them. I think it's just a bit of pride and looking to have a bit of fun to close out what has been a less than ideal stage for them, but they are putting up a great fight. I think considering that the Chiefs did such a good job starting out on their defense, that 7th were able to bring it back has been quite impressive.
It certainly has been. Both of these teams have shown a lot of resilience. Both of these teams have been down a significant round deficit and crawled back from it. And even though this has been a defense-sided map, I'm not filled with confidence by seeing Chiefs start on defense. Like, not only did they just lose the most recent 2, but also, guys, if we remember the very first defense from Chiefs, was that round with that just ridiculous round with the clash, plugging the drone hole, and then somehow 7th Heaven ended up with numbers advantage. And then somehow Fisho clutched it. I don't really know what you can take away from that round, whether you can say one team is more favored than the other. But all I know is that here in Master Office, it was a bomb site that Chiefs only played once and they did win it.
Attackers must locate and defuse a bomb.
Similar setup once again from the Chiefs, extending over towards the library belt. That pillar position has a Vulcan shield position there, and 7th will need to ensure that they clear it out efficiently. Again, if they want to go for this take, it doesn't look like Solarium will necessarily be on the agenda. Now, Worthy on the Vigil will potentially slow down this clear as 7th want to make sure that they don't miss-drone this roamer. I think that's Worthy in bar, it is. And he can just continue to be a menace because those Vigil signals will go up through the floor or through the roof from Worthy's perspective into Library and again just halt the momentum for the attack.
Momentum is definitely something that 7th Heaven have been building and sustaining. Here is a potential pick. God Legion needs to be ready, but nobody is ever ready for Pika. He is going huge here on Chalet as Vast and Digital do their best to try and refrag, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Worthy is completely cut off as well. And while Ray has been down, Vast hasn't been able to finish it yet. He wants to make it a secured kill, but Pika is there ready and waiting. That's a massive play from Vast. All that map control back for the Chiefs, and Digital and Worthy doing their best as well. But my God, it is incessant, this match between these teams. Nobody is given a moment to breathe.
Minute 20. Worthy has been tracked by Souffle and will be forced to rotate. Vast with the initiative now to retake down below and maybe apply pressure over towards Fireplace or potentially come up West Main. He'll go for the ladder. Short breath in the action, but spirited. His insight going for the plant.
Worthy does help his teammate get back to site. Here comes the impact nade. This is going to be a difficult post plant, especially when Worthy makes it a 2-on-1. It's all on Souffle to hold it. He has to isolate these gunfights. He can win the first, but Worthy steps up. Once again, match point for the Chiefs.
What a performance there from the Chiefs. It was a dicey round, but off the back of Vast's 2K and a strong showing in the post plant. They get the first round in overtime. They are not starting on the favored side. We are expecting the attack to still be dominant, or at least a little bit more dominant than what the defense has been so far between these two. It's a good showing from the Chiefs. What an insane match this has been. So much action going down, particularly in the early round phases, and that round no different. A hard-fought battle of Library, and Chiefs able to come out on top in the end.
Whew. This is certainly getting too close for comfort for me. And I think 7th Heaven are probably happy that they pushed it this deep, but no doubt they think they can win this. No doubt they're confident in themselves. But for Chiefs, man, this has been such a long game, such a long road, and they've already been dealt a massive blow by being pushed to overtime. There are just a lot more possibilities now that Chiefs don't make playoffs. Like, one possibility I'm pretty sure I've just figured out is if Knights and Order goes to overtime and then Order win it, then it doesn't matter if Chiefs win this game. They are out. And it also doesn't matter about the Invictus result, right? Like, Order and Knights will both be in front of Chiefs and locking them out. You know, a team that is looking on happily right now, looking on fondly, is Wildcard. Wildcard is hoping that 7th Heaven beat Chiefs and that Knights beat Order and that Elevate beat Invictus. That's the only way that Wildcard gets through, if all three of those matches go their way. So, man, every single game has a lot riding on it. It's not just the fates of the teams playing in that match.
100%, because you could argue that this is a bit of a nothing match for 7th Heaven themselves, but a big ripple effect for the rest of the standings, potentially on the next couple of rounds, or potentially final round here, if the Chiefs are able to convert this dining attack. Once again, we're going to see the Jackal employed here by said attack, and Worthy might be able to spot a couple of these roamers, one of which is Souffle, prone inside of Library. Vast will surely drone that out. I definitely don't think he saw him there. So the Chiefs need to be very, very careful.
This is a free kill if they know he's there, but it is devastating if they don't. Vast is having a ripper game so far, 12-9. Oh, there's Souffle, tries to rotate out, and Fisho, or rather Worthy, punishes him from the main stairs. This is already a good start here for Chiefs, and that Rotero will clear that bulletproof as well. once again putting Chiefs in a strong position. Good info now from the Jackal as well. Pika has been the most dangerous player in the server though, and he's the one I'm worried about here for Chiefs. He's the one that can do the most damage for 7th Heaven.
He has been consistently finding opening picks for his team, and now arguably he finds himself in one of the most dangerous positions for both himself and also the Chiefs. It's a very precarious power position to find yourself in, especially with that Jaeger band out. Now keep in mind, the objective is not above, so they're just trying to burn time on the vertical, prevent the attack from gaining control above. As we saw previously, 7th Heaven on their attack did not get control above, and it proved costly, so the Chiefs will be looking to take it.
And we've also seen some rounds where Chiefs really struggled on this attack at flushing out these site players and ensuring that that vertical game wasn't in 7th Heaven's favor. But still with 5 men up for the Chiefs, they are positioned really well. Here's a play for Pico, detected though for just a moment. God Legions also shut out of West Main as long as ED is up here above. And Fisho Guy though does take down Spirited. It's a collapse onto the site surely in just a moment. Peak is that critical player as well in office as he's taken down. And Ray can take that diffuser cleanser and get him on the ground, but it might not be enough for 7th Heaven. This might be the moment the Chiefs wins it, but ED's gonna wait. And he could win it right here. He takes down the diffuse planter. He just has to cover the diffuser. Here on match point for the Chiefs, they grab it and they run all the way back in the kitchen. But once again, he can deny, not if Worthy has anything to say about it. It took them 14 rounds, but finally, Chiefs get themselves into a playoffs position.
What a game between those two. The Chiefs, they get a much needed win, but it wasn't the full 3 points, which could prove costly. Nonetheless, a great performance. Particularly, I think Vast was a real standout in this matchup, doing a lot of work for his team. And overall, I don't think they'll be overly disappointed with how they played this matchup. I guess, again, the sour taste in their mouth will be the fact that they have dropped a point.
Yeah, but at this point, their fate is out of their hands. Chiefs have done everything they possibly could to get themselves into the playoffs, but their chances are not locked in. There are still 3 teams, believe it or not, that can jump them, and we only have 2 games to go. But that said, what a game from both 7th Heaven and Chiefs. I'm really impressed by 7th Heaven. The fact that they just brought their A game despite being the only team in the league that couldn't make playoffs by this point. They really gave Chiefs the best fight they possibly could have.
Yeah, it was really good from both teams. We saw a lot of refreshing Siege, not just the fact that it was Chalet, and this was literally the second time we have seen it in Stage 2. We've hardly seen it, so that was refreshing in its own right. But we saw Digital pulling out reverse clash strats. We saw 7th Heaven getting in the face of their opponents and playing aggressive off-site 30 seconds into the round. It was just absolutely wild. A lot of fun to sit back and watch, and I mean, we have set ourselves up for an absolute banging conclusion to this Playday, Dev. Still 2 huge games to go. I can't believe it.
We absolutely have. I'm so excited for those, but we're also going to have a chat to Digital as well eventually with our interview. I hope it's Digital. It always seems to be. So over to you guys on the desk. We're going to catch our breath. You guys take it from here.
Yes, thank you very much, Dev. Go and catch your breath. What a massive game that was. Chiefs just edging it out, but you have to wonder, Raven, those 2 points that they've been able to get in OT, is that going to be enough? As the boys sort of touched on, there's so much still to play. It could come back to bite them, not getting all 3 points.
Yeah, I think that's about them, but look, that was still important points to grab nonetheless. It will jump them up. Am I roboting out? Jeez, it looks. It will jump them up into 3rd place, but yes, it's very much at risk of being lost. So they're going to be now joining Wildcard in sweating it out for the remainder of the night.
Yeah, it's pretty insane overall, considering that Chiefs went 4 rounds straight on their defensive half before we saw a response from 7th Heaven. And I'd say even in those 4 rounds, there were a couple of close ones where 7th Heaven were, you know, in the driver's seat for a small portion of it. They could well have they could well have won this in regulation, which would have been utterly devastating. But regardless, I think that's just the fight and the persistence that the Chiefs have shown this stage and last stage as well. So it's good to see that they have, at least for now, secured themselves a place in playoffs pending, as we said, results. There's so many different ways it can go, but certainly they're in a good position right now.
They certainly are. Let's go and have a chat with Digital from the Chiefs off the back of their OT win. Congratulations, mate. You're in the top 4 for now. What does it mean for the team, of course, with 2 games to go, where, you know, destiny's out of your hands?
Is it? Yeah, okay. So, we just finished the game, and how does it feel to be top 4? It feels good to be top 4, but I don't know if we stay there. A bit of scrambling, like when we won that game, I came to do the interview, but I heard the boys talking about, I'm pretty sure it's out of our hands sort of thing. So now we need to wait and see the results of other games. I don't know. It's relieved that we won. It was shaky at the start, but we knew our Ds have improved heaps. So we kept positive as always. And good to be top 4, I guess, but hopefully we can stay here.
Yeah, look, it's the least likely of the 2 outcomes. You know, we need to see Order win and also IG win, which, you know, they're going up against Knights and Elevate respectively. So there may be a chance there that it really just goes your way. So I hope it does. Look, mate, we spoke before the match. I'm going to throw you under the bus here. You said that you were preparing for Chalet and feeling good about it. All things considered, you guys had a really good performance on it. However, there were a couple of rounds that looked a little bit dicey for you. How was it in the server for you guys versus 7th Heaven? Because this is a huge, huge game in terms of the weight of it.
Yeah, no, we attacks felt good, but I felt like we just sort of lacked, to be honest, a bit of like unity in our roam clears. I think that's what costed us. We seemed to get the first pick, but I think just in like, you know, actually like calling, you know, what I like, just like, it's like hard to like initiative basically, like what you're holding, what you're calling. It's what you need in roam clears. You can't really like, you know, dry run a roam clear because there's so many scenarios. So it does come down to a lot of initiative. And I think we lacked that a little bit. We called the timeout, called that rush because we noticed that was clear. I don't know. The attacks did lack for sure, but we brought it back on Ds, and it felt dicey as it probably looked, as you said. But to answer your question, just sort of lacked that unity.
Yeah, I was going to ask you actually about the second half where you guys really did come into your own. You got that four rounds in a row. Looked like it was just going to be a bit of a shutout for you guys in defense, but then 7H really stepped it up and pushed it to OT. Did it feel like there was just an extra amount of pressure on your shoulders that made those couple of rounds just a bit of a struggle to get those 3 points, or was there something at the end of that second half that just wasn't going right for you guys, or did it feel like 7H really stepped it up?
So their attacks are weird because their attacks are like they just like surround the map and just like sort of they're really like they're off on their own sort of thing. They're not really pushing together as a team. So the first 4 rounds we sort of read into that, but then I think that what was it, the 11th round when we're defending below again. It was just like down to that sort of that randomness, like the nature of their attacks. Like we just got picked off. I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to remember it back and answer your question, but I can't really. Like I guess to answer it, it was just like they got the better of their attacks. Like their attacks ended up outsmarting us, and they just like picked us off really.
Well, how are you, I guess, feeling going into what could be the playoffs or not be the playoffs? Are you yourself, this is for you, Digital, are you nervous? Are you going to be watching the last 2 games? Like, what's going through your mind right now? It must be a weird feeling.
It is a weird feeling because I don't know what to think. I guess now I just, hoping whatever scenario it is, because I'm still not quite sure what scenario it is, hoping that it falls in our favor and when we make playoffs. I just sort of going in a little round. I feel like we could have done way better this season as well. Like our first game, for example, like against Q Confirm, like we got smashed when we outplayed them last season. And I feel like that first game just, if we won that game and won like that order game as well, I feel like we could have easily won it had we had a different approach. like win those 2 games and we're like first. And it's like, I know it's like a bad way to think like that, but I just feel like we could have done, like the potential's there, and I feel like we're such a good team. But yeah, I just think with time and you know, and experience, we'll get there. So yeah, that's what's going through my head. We had a good season, but
regardless of what
it could be
happens
better.
from here, at least you've had a good finish to the stage. That's the main thing. Any final shout outs you want to give?
Yeah, just to all the supporters watching. Thank you to you guys. Thank you to my teammates as always. They're the best. And thank you to Chiefs, and thank you to you guys for the cast.
Thank you,
Always.
Digital. Best of luck with the results and how it's going to play out tonight.
Cheers, guys.
Well, as it's already been coined and pointed out, a lot has to go their way. Manic, where you got the giggles?
Oh no, just every single time. Thanks to the cast, boys. You know, like just it's been that way for 2 years that I've been working with him. Every single time he gets the opportunity, it's always thanks to the cast. Like we're gonna thank him for playing one day. Just the send off. By the way, thanks for playing, Digital.
Maybe we should do that. Yeah, no, look, I think he's got a really good point, and it's something that we always bring up at the start of stages, is some of these early matches will shape exactly like your final placement, and it's always interesting to hear him reflect back. If they just won a certain game, it could be completely different for them. Like he said, they could really be first because it is still pretty close in general with standings. So it just goes to show, you know, every point counts. And to that end, I will say, wildcard no longer can actually make playoffs. We have that confirmed.
Unfortunately, yeah, that's going to be them out of the playoffs. Still quite a few games to go. In fact, 2 we're halfway done for Playday 7, and we'll see which teams at the end of the day will make the playoffs.